Welcome everyone. This is Acid Roots. It's going to be a little hard to see me, but I've got a review for you, and that is Twiztid Abominationz. So with this project, this was the last album they did under Insane Clown Posse's label, Psychopathic Records. They still had Dark Lotus, I think it was called. They have a super group with ICP, and this was, pretty sick record. It just all around for what it is. Now this record is actually shorter than what it seems. It's got like 3 1-minute songs in there that are actually just more skits and that sort of thing, and then there's another one in there, so there's 4. On the original album there is 16, but on this one I got a bonus track, so there's actually 13 total songs. And about these guys, they're basically pretty horrific folks. They have released a lot of horrorcore. They're, they're on par with ICP, and these guys are a little bit more in the shadows of rap music, but once you discover them, I think it ignites you, and it should. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about it is it doesn't really have the utmost promotion. You kind of have to look for these guys in order to, hear some of this. There's definitely not gonna be a radio song. There's not really going to be, features like a Ludacris or a Rick Ross or something. Like I said, it's kind of in the shadows, but once you discover them, and another thing is there's just not that immediate of songs. This is really horrorcore, and in a lot of ways, it's, I'd say you take some DJ Paul from 3-6 Mafia, you take a little bit of Tech Nine, and maybe a dash of Eminem in there, and you've got what these guys do for a living. So it's this album is a creeper, and I definitely don't have a problem with that, but you should know that there's just not an immediate, highlight. But they're definitely good. You just have to have more mature sounding for knowing sick instrumentals or beats. So with that, the production on this, that kind of leads me. I'm going to point out a few of the ones that I like the most. The best beat on this album is Lift Me Up. I also like Coin Flip Lunatic and Abominationz, the title track. And there was probably a couple other ones that were pretty sick. I think Unstoppable might have been another one. Yeah, that was one. And yeah, I mean, most of the ones I'm getting ready to point out have good ones. You just need to go for that. But Royce the 5'9" is on Coin Flip Lunatic. Insane Clown Posse is on the title track. So these are just a few. I also felt like Extension Chords was a pretty good one. I mean, you can't really hear the production in that song as well, but it's got like real kind of low key. It's not in your face. It's more low key, and that works extremely well. Bad Side kind of, that's a freaky song, and I think it's going to be the first song you hear if you listen to it and you're expecting something else. Their approach is a lot different than some of these other rappers. So that's the thing, is I don't think they're too concerned with just making that club song that go out and new dance song and that sort of thing. So the unheard songs, which are songs you need to take a listen to, out of 13 songs, I liked 8. More specifically, I liked 6, but there were 2 songs I was on the fence about that I'm pretty sure I will like. So the 6 songs are Unstoppable, Rep That Wicked, Lift Me Up, Coin Flip Lunatic, Abominationz, and Nightmares. Now, the two almost songs were Bad Side and Extension Chords. That would total to about 8 out of 12, but seeing as there's one extra song, 8 out of 13. Now, this is extremely solid. The only problem with it is as far as must-have songs that are just like, like Blueberry Yum Yum that you remember that album for. It does not necessarily have like those cult songs that are, non-stop listens that you go to the project for. But that's okay. It's still good. I guess I can't specifically say that because I don't know Twiztid super well, but I do know enough to say that a lot of these songs are pretty, good to go. So that there was something else I was gonna say. The last half of the album after the song, or the last quarter of the album after the song Nightmares, it kind of starts to get a little bit weaker, and that was the meat of the songs I didn't like. But other than that, this is pretty much, that album. So the score I'm gonna give this, I do recommend this project. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because 8 out of 13 is little bit less than 2/3, so that would be at least a 6.5. But seeing as there's really only 5 songs I didn't like, if there was just 2 more songs, I'd be getting like a 9.5. So I'm gonna give it just a solid 8. You could say almost it would be a 7.5, but I like the song, so it's an 8. And in the future, Twiztid is apparently coming out with an album this year. They dropped an album last year. I reviewed it. So that's more goodness. The social score as far as how well it plays around you and a group of people you're with, I would say it's probably like a 6, because there's not the immediate highlights. But, really, if this is your sort of thing, if you're used to Twiztid and you know them extremely well, it's, obviously this gets like a 9 or a 10. But just for new jacks and that sort of thing, it's more of, that's the reason why I give it a 6. But, other than that, I reviewed quite a bit of horrorcore, and, really, you should want to listen to this, in other words. But, if you're used to the radio, be warned. So, can it be topped? I think the answer is just a tad, but I like the effect and the flavor of these songs. It's really good to go. So I give this album an 8 and a 6 social. Subscribe for more fun.